Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I'm Shahnaz Siganporia, Associate Editor of Vogue India. Thank you for joining me for How I Made It. It's the first in a series of live chats with a stellar lineup of women leaders in the lead up to our special virtual edition of Vogue's Women of the Year Awards 2020. As we get closer to the release of part one of our awards this evening, that highlights our frontline workers and our health essential workers, we thought it was the right time to catch up with our 2018 Achiever of the Year, who hasn't stopped achieving since. She's fierce, she's vocal, and she doesn't back down. She's a lawyer, a human rights activist, and the founder of SheSays. Trisha Shetty will be joining us now for a chat on how she does what she does. Let me add her in. I'm just waiting for Trisha to send me a request. Hang in there, guys. Trisha will be adding me soon. We're just waiting for Trisha to join. As I mentioned earlier, this is the first in a series of chats leading up to Vogue Women of the Year. And we are waiting for Trisha to join us. Just waiting on Trisha. She should be with us soon. You don't want to miss this chat. Trisha is an amazing person. Every time I meet her, I'm just that much more impressed with her. So, just a bit of a lag. She is joining us from Paris, so there might be a bit of a wait for her to come online. And I'm on. Trisha, if you're here, could you wave so I could add you in? There we go. Trisha's there. She's here. There we go. Hi, Trisha.
I like how someone says do makeup first. Is that for me? I tried.
No, it's not for you. But thank you so much for joining us. As everyone can see, Trisha is joining us from a hospital bed. So let's talk about the head brace in the room.
You know, I have to make it Vogue. Someone just, I tried. I am redefining beauty standards for you all in a way that perhaps you'll want aiming to go for.
I think this is the beauty standard that we couldn't dream of reaching, Trisha. But hats off to you. I mean, you have recently been in a car accident. If this isn't a proof of your resilience, your phenomenal strength, your phenomenal courage.
Tell me more. This is only why I joined the live. Sorry?
I said, tell us how you landed up in a hospital bed and how are you doing?
Well, we were driving, a friend's parents were unwell, so we took permission to go see them. And 5 hours later, I think the arrogance of youth caught on to the friend who was driving his body and turned around for a glass of water. And for that fraction of a second, he lost control of the road. And next thing I know, there's an airbag been deployed. We got hit like 2 times, almost died. But all things considered, we didn't die. I don't have any neurological damage. I just have to rock this for the next 3 months. And all things considered, I can't complain.
You have the whole Princess Leia vibe happening right now. So
thank you. I am currently
I'm so grateful for you joining us. But you know, Trisha, this is interesting because looking at you, you are the picture of what I would say the world is going through today. Resilience is almost like the need of the hour. You know, tell us about the sheer power of resilience you come with, Trisha. Where does it come from?
You know, the world the world beats the stupid out of everyone, and afterward, the world breaks everyone. I'm paraphrasing, but afterward, many are stronger at the broken places. I truly think during these times, um, it's not the time to play oppression Olympics. By that I mean compare battle scar wounds and check, oh, you just had the flu, I had coronavirus, or you just had coronavirus, I had, I had cancer. It's not the time. The truth is, we're living in times when everyone is suffering. And if you have honest conversations with people beyond just, hey, how are you? What's up? I'm good. How are you? If you truly ask someone, even pause and say, no, but really, how are you? You will hear stories of grief, you will hear stories of suffering, you will hear stories of deep concern, the conversations people are having with their loved ones just before they go to sleep. Talks about financial crisis, talks about money, talks about concerns about health. When will they see their parents again? Just, we're really having these conversations, and it's making us realize that we're all suffering or aware of acute suffering. And I think the only thing you can do during these times is call upon yourself to showcase the best of humanity. I have had the privilege of meeting such brilliant people in my life, and the most horrible people too. So, for example, I had a case of a 4.5-year-old child who'd been trigger warning, who'd been sexually abused, who'd been raped, and the father, would come to the hospital perhaps every other week. Come to the courtroom every week. And one day he was like, ma'am, I have diarrhea. I don't think I can come to the courtroom. So I was like, don't worry, we've got it. He still showed up. He ran to the hospital every few minutes, to the bathroom every few minutes, but he still showed up, and when they show up, you show up. So it's just a matter of resilience is a muscle.
Yeah.
And much like any other thing, you just have to invest in strengthening it and owning your pain, and finding people who will celebrate your pain, see your pain, and provide solidarity.
Absolutely. And on the note of solidarity, you have been at the forefront of activism for a long while now. And from moderating a session at the Paris Peace Forum to your regular primetime appearances and as an expert, I mean, how did it all begin for you? How did you become an activist?
So we started SheSays just because, I wanted to be need-driven, not cause-driven. I was a survivor of child sexual abuse, and it was a cause deeply personal to me, sexual abuse. And I just wanted to spend time to, truly invest in solutions that the society needed, and not something that I had as a child who'd been abused. But beyond that, marital rape is not a crime in our country, right? So the definition of rape has a legal exception that says no man can be charged with raping his wife. And I just always found that absurd. So we were on Twitter, and our organization's handle, SheSays India, tweeted against marital rape, and we started getting a lot of attacks. And so then I doubled down using my personal Twitter handle because I didn't want my organization to be attacked. And thereon, believe it or not, Arnab Goswami's main person reached out to me when he was still working at Times Now, saying, we're doing a debate on marital rape. Would you like to participate?
I remember that debate. Yeah,
I was like, okay. And I showed up and I said, marital rape is not a license for sex. Then I doubled down, and I got attacked, but they liked my style of debating. They were like, how do you know so much? Like, what do you mean, how do I know so much? I know my research, I know the law. How do you not know anything? And thereon I became a political commentator, and my accidental journey of becoming a social political activist started. Thanks to
you say
Mr.
accidental journey, but in this day of hashtag activism, you're an activist full time. That is that's a commitment of another level. How did that come about?
You just have to go on ground and work on ground. That's the only thing that I have held dear to me from the very beginning. Till date, every time I'm in India, every time we get a case, I am at the police station, I'm at the hospital, I'm in the courtrooms. Look, we're not proposing any sort of ingenious new solutions. I'm not the smartest person in the room. The only thing we do is figure out, okay, this is what the law says, but what's happening on ground? So when I go on ground, when I meet survivors directly, when I meet their families directly, when I see injustice on such an intimate level, when I'm visiting police stations and seeing where my taxpayer money is going, when I'm visiting hospitals, one, you have a very low tolerance level to bullshit. Two, um, you know who you're fighting for and who your people are. You know? So for that, it helps me then to understand those are my people. So then, regardless of which room I'm in, if I'm in Melinda Gates, if I'm with President Emmanuel Macron, if I'm with the biggest Barack Obama, I keep telling myself that those are my people. You know, the people I work with on ground, and I'm perfectly comfortable never being re-invited to a place. So that's my mantra. Anytime I go to speak somewhere, I tell myself, after you're done speaking, you should know you are comfortable not being re-invited, because the truth is not comfortable for people.
True.
So it comes from that place, my activism of knowing who my people are, of having a discipline of saying I'm perfectly comfortable not being attached to the gold gilded rooms and the fancy tables I get access to right now. And third, having constant contact with on ground activities, because if you do, it's the most natural thing for you to speak up, and it guides your activism. You know what you're fighting for because you know you're on the ground.
And you've definitely been fighting the good fight in some very powerful rooms, as you mentioned, President Obama, 10 Downing Street, United Nations. But having appeared in rooms packed with some of the most powerful people in the world, how do you stand your ground? You are a young woman, sometimes the only woman in a lot of these rooms. How do you stand your ground? How do you, like, where do you find that courage from in those moments?
One, realizing very early on that most of these high-level, massive people don't know what they're saying. They have no contact with on-ground reality. So it's very theoretical, intellectual knowledge, which sounds good, but you have no idea what's going on ground. So I know what's going on ground. Like I said, I am really acutely aware of the fact that I'm not the smartest person in the room, and I'm not trying to be. But what I do
knowledge
know,
is power, and you do have ground level knowledge.
exactly. But I do know is I have integrity, and I know I have integrity, and I know that my work is important for me and my people, right? So one is knowing that my knowledge is actual knowledge on ground. Two is I've realized that not too many people have the courage to say the truth. And the radical act of just telling the truth somehow makes you an outlier and makes you feared. So the one thing I always do is say the truth. And I take names, you know, because I really believe what you don't talk about, what you don't say, will not be seen. So I take names of failed leaders. And I have had my personal journey with fear. I have gone through that to be intimately aware of the fact that I call it upon myself to take names and fight for the people, for myself and my people. So when I have that awareness and knowledge, and again, when I know I'm perfectly fine not being re-invited, I'm not there to be liked. So I don't care if they like me. I want them to respect me and hear me. So once I'm done telling my truth, and I know that it's the actual truth, I don't care if they like me or not. I need them to, you know, respect me and
listen to you.
And look, as a woman, anyways, being heard is you know, an act of rebellion in itself. So it's like, okay, I have the stage, and being polite hasn't gotten me many places. So you know, I'm not vanilla ice cream. I know I'll not be liked by everyone. So my job is to make sure I can sleep well at night, and the food is great too. The champagne is great too. But beyond the great food and champagne, it's good to know that you're going to sleep with your integrity intact.
Absolutely. What is the greatest challenge of being an activist today?
Mental health.
Can you tell us more about that?
You really have to get familiarized with the idea that you're putting your sanity at risk. You are. So you need to have, there'll be days when you don't know why you're doing the work that you're doing. There'll be days when you get so addicted to the rush of high stress and stimulus that you don't know how to behave in normal settings. When things are fine, when things are calm, when things are normal, your body is so used to the shock of, you know, being on ground, running from one police station to the other, getting abused at, getting yelled at, that normal situations, calmness stuns you when you don't know what you're doing. So it's difficult. And I know it sounds weird, right? But like, it's difficult being on a beach, sipping margaritas is alien. You don't know what your life purpose is. So,
Yeah.
not knowing how to react in normal situations. Second is being very diligent about your mental health, about going to seek therapy, not making sure you don't do this work with a savior complex, with a white
Yeah.
hat complex, and you really do it for yourself. Um, Another thing is also having a good solidarity group, because you hear so many abuses and so many attacks. You need to know which voice to listen to, which criticism to take, which criticism not to take.
Mm-hmm.
And also figuring out how to have relationships with people, because you see so much of the worst side of humanity. You're seeing people getting raped all the time. You're seeing rapists all the time. You're seeing people that are terrible. Is my audio clear now?
Yeah, your audio is clear.
Okay. So,
It's clear.
really figuring out, and also having an identity beyond work, because work is, gives you so much of validation,
So
attacks
true.
too, but so many validations, that you figure out how to be a friend, that you forget how to be a friend. You forget how to put your work hat off and just, go to a comedy show and just laugh and not think about the case that you're handling where someone's been raped or someone's dying or someone's dead. So, mental health is the biggest, and anyone that tells you it's an easy ride is lying, is bullshitting. The mental health.
It can't possibly be. But Trisha, talking about mental health, do you find the pressure to always put on that strong face, or do you allow yourself to be vulnerable in situations? How do you balance that out, given the kind of work you do?
Honestly, it's difficult. I will, and to the good people watching, if I have lipstick on my teeth, please let me know. Okay.
No, you don't. You're
Thank
good.
you. Yeah, I still struggle with it, of showing weakness, of crying. I remember this one time, Nargis Fakri introduced me on stage, and she and I had a really beautiful moment off stage. We connected, we shared like personal deep trauma, and by the time she got on stage, she was crying, and her words moved me. And by the time it was time for me to start, I started crying, and I really was like, okay, stop crying, stop crying. And I hate crying when I'm speaking. And of course, the comments were crocodile tears. She's faking it,
Yeah.
And I'm used to all sort of attacks. So I now make it a point on my social media, at least on Instagram, when I post a picture, to kind of be honest about, look, the picture may show me on the big stage addressing Putin and world leaders, but this is what I was going through in my mind. But do I
Yeah.
feel comfortable sharing a video of where I'm actually crying? No, I don't, because I have to be so strategic about showing my vulnerability as well. Because every day I have people who are stalking me and have made it their life mission to want to send death threats, rape threats, or actually want to kill me. So I have to take those
Exactly.
things into account as well. So yeah, I value being vulnerable, but it's difficult to showcase it in this world as a woman, as a person of color, where
Yeah.
the second you show emotions, they call you emotional, drama.
Exactly.
So
It is a tough balance, I have to say, and I don't know how you do it on Twitter, social media, and the kind of abuse you,
I have you
and
said.
the kind of abuse that comes your way. How
Mm-hmm.
do you deal with your detractors? How do you deal both with social, with the online world, and on ground? How do you deal with your detractors? And
So
what's your advice to women on social media?
so one on in terms of social media, um, the first thing, it's really important to know that they're trying to get in your head. Most people abusing you, most people threatening you, they're trying to get in your head. So the second you
Mm-hmm.
know that, it just makes it simple. You go like, your words are hurting me, but I know what you really want to do is try to get in my head. So I will not give you that permission. So the simplest thing I do is go look at myself in the mirror when I'm really throwing myself a pity party and I'm upset, and someone sent me this long essay about exactly how they'll rape me and kill me
Yeah.
and what they'll do to my body. I'll go look at myself in the mirror and I'll be like, stop crying. I'll talk to myself, I'll coach myself, because it's easier for you to show sympathy, and not sympathy, empathy, to a third person than to yourself. We're a lot more harsher to
So true.
ourselves. So I'll pretend like I'm talking to someone else, and I'll be like, okay, this sucks. First, I'll accept the fact that it sucks. What they're saying is terrible. Once you accept it and stop fighting it, it gives it that much less importance. And then I'll be like, this person's trying to get in your head. And guess what? Today, I need to go and meet a friend, or today, I want to go dance. And this person is not going to ruin my day. So I'll talk to myself and say, this sucked, but you have a day to get through. So get on with it. Are. And I stopped
Get
giving
on with
myself a
it.
pity party. Second is actually looking at some of the attacks, the ones that hurt you.
Yeah,
Because I also get attacked by left liberal woke people sometimes.
of
So,
course.
and figuring out, is there any truth to these attacks? So then I have my support system that I'll reach out to and be like obviously I know there's no truth to, I hope she gets fucked by her dog, or you are a terrorist, or we want to come and kill you. But if someone is telling me, um, you need to be more sensitive to LGBTQI issues because of this statement that you said, okay, I will obviously try to pay attention to it. I'll ask someone, I'll ask people from the LGBTQI community, allies, be like, is there some truth to this? Do I need to make some edits?
Yeah, yeah,
And thirdly, I will name and shame. If there's a difference between slapping someone and slapping someone with a chappal, in India, it's like "Gusse se maro." It's like you're shaming someone. So if you're going to come and insult me, I will highlight it and be like, oh, you kiss your mother with that mouth, or greetings to you too, and I will let the people that follow me address with that. So if you're
absolutely.
shameless enough to attack me, I'll put a spotlight
You
on
get
you.
it right back,
Yeah.
and you will be called out. But
Oh yeah. And to the people who actually threaten me physically, I report it. I will physically report it to the police. I don't let those threats go. Any attack to my dignity,
yeah,
I will not tolerate. An attack to someone else's dignity, I will not tolerate.
absolutely. I think wise words from Trisha there for anyone who's facing the same, you know. But what does it mean to be a leader today? Your advice to, say, women who are struggling to have themselves heard?
Um, to be truthful, to be truthful, I think. You cannot be a leader if you are not aware of what your immediate surrounding, the
Mm-hmm.
truth of your immediate surrounding, the truth of your community, the truth of people who don't have access to the same resources as you, and the truth of people who have access to more resources than you. You know, just when you are living in the present and you're aware of the current system and what other people's reality is. So, for example, my guy friends don't have to think about, okay, I'm going out in my, I'm taking a train. I should not wear the shorts that I want to wear. But most of the girlfriends I know, myself included, have to think about what transport are we taking. I'm sure even you do, right?
I
Or,
do it all the time.
yeah, and
Absolutely.
then that's why you'll change your clothes based on that. The very
Mhm.
simple act of figuring out what you will wear and how you are traveling before you get out of your home is in itself is we're going through battlefield, we're preparing for battlefield. When you're aware of that, as someone who's straight, as a cisgender man, or as someone who doesn't have to account for this, you kind of go like, this is really messed up, you shouldn't have to live like this. So for a leader, it's important to know the truth of yourself and people around you, and after that, speak the truth. Speak the truth and demand for the truth to be seen and heard. Because honestly, we're living in times today where people will tell us, if you drink cow piss, your cancer will get cured. And, and where people will get away with calling our fallen martyrs. Yesterday was 26/11, where people will get away with calling our fallen martyrs horrible names and disgrace them. And in these times, if you don't speak the truth for the sake of your country, for the sake of what we were raised, as in school, I was raised to believe my country is a secular, democratic, republic country. We were raised to believe in the plurality of our country, that India is diverse, which is why we're so celebrated. We have hundreds of languages. And when someone is questioning that truth for me today, that I've been born and raised to believe. And even in my family, when I had people make Islamophobic remarks, it was known that that's not acceptable. But when someone is questioning that very inherent truth for me today, that this is not the country that I have been promised, that my forefathers fought for, a leader is someone who says, no, my constitution says differently. The good people I know say differently. The people who give me education have told me differently. What I know to be true is different. And a leader is someone that will speak up and say, that uh, I am fighting for this, not because I'm going to get awards at the end of it. If you're chasing awards, if you're chasing recognition, if you're chasing claps, you're not a leader. But I'm fighting for this because this deserves to be fought for. This truth must be protected. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Truth to power all the way, huh, Trisha?
Hmm.
But talking about not chasing accolades, you have received your share. And this is a question I love asking women because I feel sometimes we don't blow our trumpets enough. What is the accomplishment you're most proud of?
Um,
I know there are a lot that you've done,
oh
but
my
there's
God.
one that just is your go to.
The fact that we got the tax removed on sanitary napkins in India.
Absolutely. I think that's more than standing ovation worthy, honestly.
Yeah, that was
That
hard
was
because
a,
I didn't think we would be able to make that happen with this administration and move an issue. But more than the tax being removed, the fact that menstrual hygiene became a mainstream topic, we saw art with people and their tampons and blood, and everyone was then talking about it, and all the current administration politicians were talking about how it's a great idea and their idea.
yeah.
And the fact that we had an opposition leader tell me, go play in your league, we'll play in our league, and like try to minimize what we were doing, and that we did it without spending a single rupee. And honestly, I think the thing that I'm most proud of is after so many years of running the organization we have run, our
Uh-huh.
team and I have never compromised on any values and never had to work with people we don't respect. And our team and I have said no to really powerful people who wanted to work with us, and we've
Yeah.
said no. So yeah.
I think we all owe you a debt of gratitude for that, Trisha, honestly speaking. But let's move a little bit away from work itself. The last year, it's been crazy for all of us. Has
Mm.
it changed you in any fundamental way? What has this year brought to your life?
The last year has been difficult because um, I had some significant changes in my life. I was with a life partner that that didn't work out for me. So
Yeah.
it's been difficult, and I've been trying to figure out what what's so much of my life and career has been accidental, with like one accolade or figuring out next. So the last year I've been trying to be more intentional in what I
Mm-hmm.
have done, and also I in the last year I've stopped giving myself permission to marinate in suffering. So before I really did, I suffered a lot because of the threats I was getting and the work I was doing. But the last year, I stopped giving myself permission to marinate in suffering. And I went out of my way to be happy. So for me, the last year, also seeing the protests that happened in India and being part of a time and moment where um, you felt Indian, and you felt Indian in a way of not being like, the streets are so loud, the streets are so crowded, what is this traffic? Why are so
Yeah.
many people, touching you all the time? You felt Indian in a way where you saw your flag. In school, when we used to see our flag, it used to be to sit during Independence Day and say Jana Gana Mana, and like when will we get over this? And this forced sense of patriotism. I have felt uh, I've cried with people. I felt the love for my country that I could share with other people. The pure joy of just walking down streets and seeing people of all ages, all colors, sing the same songs of love during these protests. There were songs of love being sang. So to feel like this is a moment of crisis, but that there are good people everywhere coming together, fighting for something, for the spirit and soul of a country. Like, how lucky do you have to be to witness that, right? How lucky do you have to be to live in a moment in time when you feel like, hell yeah, I'm proud of my country. Hell yeah, I'm proud of my people. And yeah, I get emotional even thinking about it. So being happy. So throwing myself dance parties by myself. So through COVID, when I was living alone, I would at
Yeah.
1 a.m. play, increase the music and dance to myself and sing to myself.
Down to
So
down. Yeah.
yeah, so being intentional with my happiness, uh, being so happy to know that um, our country is going to be okay, and to be part of a bigger moment. And finally, being, I think, also more intentional in filling my soul and doing things that are good for me. So through this accident too, the fact that, I just was breathing and was calm as opposed to freaking out really helped a lot. So doubling down on my mental health and being someone I can be proud of through this whole thing. Yeah, that's what the last.
What's your larger vision? Is there a larger goal? Is there a larger vision? What's yours?
I'm a legacy driven person. So anything and everything I do, I want it to be, I don't want to be like showing like fake humility and be like, oh, I don't know, da, da, da.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I've suffered from severe depressions. For the longest time, my larger vision was just to live happy and be happy, because I didn't think I could live a life without depression, but I do now. So for me, currently, the larger goal would be making sure that, anything and everything I do makes sense within the larger picture of the high expectations I have for myself. So larger vision, seeing the wave of politics, of hate, change. That's something that really is important to me. Knowing that I played a role within that space. Being brave enough to try something else in my career that I've been wanting to for a while. So completely different from politics and activism to something else that hopefully I'll be brave enough to share at some point. But being brave enough to try something else
But when you're brave enough to share.
Yeah, that arts in a while. Yeah, honestly, I live a really good larger than life right now. Truly, like my life is tough, but I also live a really extraordinary life. My larger vision would just be to do more of everything I'm doing right now. Like apart from this, because this is good, but I get to meet the
Trisha,
most powerful
sorry to
people.
interrupt you there. If there's anyone who can achieve something from a hospital bed, it's probably you.
Thank you.
I definitely believe that.
Thank you. But no, I really live an extraordinary life. So just I think more of everything that I'm doing right now. More. I'm a person who wants more.
I'm glad. Because I don't think we've seen enough of you. As I keep joking around, like I know we gave you the Young Achievers Award. I'm sure next it will be the Icon of the Year award, and that will be far away from today. But Trisha, coming back, because this is our Women of the Year, who are the women who inspired you? Because you are an inspiration to so many today.
To someone who says it does look like a hospital bed.
It is a hospital bed.
And for my dedication to checking in. Who are the people that have inspired me? Asha Devi, Nirbhaya's mother. When we were protesting during Kachwa, I remember meeting her and I was like, how do you not get tired? Because she was tired and the press kept calling her because she was in Bombay and they wanted to meet her. And she was tired and she told her husband, Badrinath, I'm tired. Let's just cancel a few of the press conferences. And he said, no, it would be okay if they wanted to listen to me, but they don't want to listen to me. They want to listen to you. So you must suck it up and speak. So she's like, okay. And so then at the end of the night, I asked her, how do you do this? How do you not get tired? And she said, well, I do get tired, but I sleep at night to refill my soul. I wake up in the morning ready for Sangharsh again, because had someone fought enough for my daughter would perhaps be alive. And I'll be damned if I don't do everything I can to make sure others are safe. So, women like her, women like Nadia Murad, who was, the Nobel Peace Laureate from 2 years ago, who was an ISIS sex slave. She lost her entire family to Daesh. And, she takes to stage and she said in front of everyone, hope is dangerous. Expiration date, hope requires action. And she comes from a community where it's not okay to talk about sexual abuse. And she's openly speaking about the multiple gang rapes that her body has gone through, so that she can demand for justice for her people. A Fit Girl India is here, and she was there with me through the protest. So the people that inspire me, honestly, and even beyond these amazing women, it's the people who show up every day. The mothers, we had a survivor of marital rape who reached out to me, and today she is completely financially independent. has separated from her husband, and when she found out I had an accident, reached out to me, being like, "Do you need anything? Can I help you? How can I help?" You know, how can I not be inspired by the resilience of survivors I meet? So I really have the fortune of meeting the most amazing people. When I was uh, when I was getting assaulted by cops in Marine Drive during the protest, and I was trying to protect some of the people, you know, there were these random women. The cops were trying to then drag me, and when they drag you, they have a tendency to lift your clothes and drag you to, like, you know, to basically mess with your system, because when your clothes are being pulled more than you being physically dragged, you get disoriented, right? I had I had random women I've never met physically hug me, hold me against police officers. There were 10, 15 police officers hold me, and I can never forget the word kashala, 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 screaming. Why? Refuse to let me go and hold me. And you know, as a survivor of child sexual abuse, when you don't get protected, that was the first time I've ever been protected. My body has ever been protected by women, by people I don't even know. And you know, how can you not be inspired by women who, I think, because we're so deeply intimate, we have such an intimate relationship with discrimination, with violence, with people attacking our body and touching us without our consent, that we take umbrage and personal affront to seeing it happen to someone else. And as women, it's easier for us to stand up for other women, I think, than protect ourselves. You know, I've had the privilege of meeting the biggest women in the world, from Queen Elizabeth to Michelle Obama to, you know, Nadia Murad. And I will tell you that I have, the people who've changed my life are the very, very many women that I have come in contact with, who have shared their light with me so generously. And also friends of mine like Elise, who, you know, I lost a mentor. She came to my house with a bottle of wine, some cheese, chocolates, and she's like, "Come on, let's eat, let's celebrate." And then she played music, Bella Ciao, and we danced. So
And
friends
sometimes
would,
that's the only thing you need.
exactly.
So true.
Sometimes all you need
So
is a
true.
friend who will show up with you, who will
Absolutely.
dance and sing and help you get through the dark nights.
Thank you for sharing that, Trisha. I really do appreciate your honesty. You know, it's so inspiring.
Can I ask you
Um,
a question? I'm putting you on the spot.
sure. I'm not used to that, but sure.
Okay. So, you know, when you talk about Vogue, there's this, I think, expectation that people have when they open the magazine of wanting to be better than, right? Of achieving a standard. Not specifically with Vogue India, but what was just said. This is in Vogue. I'm a desirability factor. How have you all tried to figure out navigating through the reason, the ethos of Vogue, of wanting to be desirable, wanting to be extraordinary, wanting to be, you know, something that's quite unachievable, to also now recognizing the times that we're in and celebrating the women's voices here? Because I know one of the women you're celebrating, Richa Srivastav, who spent days and hours. To those who don't know, she's from Maker's Asylum, and they made face shields. And I would send her messages being like, "Richa, I need 2,000 face shields by tomorrow." "Okay, done. Pick it up." "I need 3,000 face shields by day after." All free of cost, by the way, when others were charging so much. And they worked day and night. She's one of the Vogue Women of the Year awardees.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
and
now warrior series.
the reason I say this is because the readership too doesn't open magazines to want to read about, you know, great women in their day-to-day lives. There is that expectation of seeing models, right? So how is
I
Vogue?
think, Trisha, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off there,
Of
but I
course.
understood your question. I think, Trisha, that is Vogue. I mean, what is aspirational today? If it's beauty and fashion, it's also strength, it's also resilience, it's power, it's women leaders, it's women who achieve. And today, as a woman, you cannot be part of multiple conversations. I think whether it's fashion or whether it's activism, I don't see them as separate conversations. I think these are the conversations that make us who we are today. And which is why Women of the Year has always celebrated women from across discipline, you know, because this is our moment to just shine the spotlight. We do have a great platform with, given, say, the reach of not just the magazine, our digital platforms, all of it. So I think that's our goal. We are, at the end of the day, a woman-dominated team. We are a diverse team of queer, heterosexual, straight, across the board. Of course, we want to get our voices out. you know, and we want to get voices like yours out, because I think today's reader wants all of that. Today's viewer wants all of that. And it's people like you are one of our favorites today. There's a reason for that, because I think you set a, you are a role model today. And we love role models like you. That's Vogue for all of us. And I think that's unanimous across the board. I can see all my team replying furiously down on the comments.
Oh,
But
I love
Trisha,
that.
thank you so much. I wish I could carry on chatting with you for another 5 hours, but sadly I have to hand over now. But thank you so much for taking this time out. I cannot thank you enough for this.
Can I
Seriously,
just sign
especially
off
from that
by
hospital.
saying thank you for celebrating extraordinary women and using an extraordinary platform like Vogue to celebrate the brilliance of women who have done God's work during COVID. I know this is in homage to warriors today's day. So to the warriors who have done God's work during COVID, thank you for using the platform of Vogue to celebrate them. I know you're not just celebrating them today, but really trying to celebrate them as a continuum.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so to the people watching, please go find out the names of the winners of this year and go to their social media profiles and just send them hearts and love. And
And
thank
show
you,
them the
Vogue.
love,
Thank
seriously.
you, Vogue, for using your platform to celebrate the best of us and remind us that it's always fashionable and chic to uplift and celebrate women and empower women.
Thank you so much, Trisha. I really appreciate you taking that time.
Thank
I hope
you.
everyone enjoyed this show. I'm going to sign off now, but do
Thank you.
keep yourself tuned in, because
I
we
can
have
now take
Swara
my
for us.
makeup off and
Oh,
get back to being a patient. Thank you. Bye.
go back to being a patient, and please rest it out now.
Thank
And for
you.
the rest of you, do join us for our upcoming lives with Swara, Dia Mirza. There's a whole lot, and do tune into our warriors tonight. Thank you